the session. Okay, Neustan?
Yes, absolutely. No problem.
Okay, we are streaming, so.
Let me know when you like me to show my presentation.
Okay, I'm gonna start. Yeah, we are on. So hello everyone, welcome to TEKTiTE Digital Economy 2023. And my name is Raissa. I'm the event manager of TEKTiTE, and I'm really glad to have you all together today. And thank you for joining us. TEKTiTE Digital Economy 2023 is in the 30th edition of a brokerage online event held by Delta Tech Korea. And the main topic of this year is digital economy, with the focus area in healthcare, smart industry, mobility, and environment. The main goal of TEKTiTE is promote business opportunities and connect innovation seekers, solution providers, intermediaries, and investors. We hope that you can all find potential customers and partnerships during this event. I would also like to introduce the CEO of Delta Tech Korea, Mr. Sung-Ho Lee, that is also joining us our workshop meeting today. And today's workshop is about smart industry, and the moderator is Orne Rustan, Business Development Executive of FICC in Israel. And thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Nehustan. And from now on, I'm gonna give you the word. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Raissa. I will just share my screen so we can start and focus on our esteemed members and companies that are about to present here for us. Just a moment of your time, please. So first of all, thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to cooperate with Delta Tech Korea. I'm sure we'll have a lot more to discuss later on. And thank you, President Ho Lee, Mr. Ho Lee, President of Delta Tech Korea. It's an honor to have you here with us at the workshop today. I will now briefly show you what we do at the FICC, and then we'll move on to present the companies here with us today. So the FICC, the Federation of Israeli Chambers of Commerce, is the largest and oldest trade promotion organization in Israel, established before the establishment of the State of Israel. And our key purpose is to promote the interests of the business sector in Israel. We represent them through various activities, with parliament committees, with legislation. We introduced together with the Ministry of Economy recently the import reform into Israel, and we have around 12 sector leaders that represent all industry sectors in Israel. The FICC covers mostly the trade sector and the services sector that are responsible for around 70% of Israel's GDP. We have thousands of companies, big, some of Israel's largest corporations, wholesalers, retailers, tech companies as well, and of course SMEs as well. I will go over the different services and the different ways that we can collaborate with some of our audience members here today, and of course with Delta Tech Korea and our associates in Korea as well. So we are very pleased to be able to expose you to different opportunities of different companies in Israel, to help you with technology sourcing. We have with us today one of our esteemed members, Giga 3D, who will present later on. And if you have any trade queries or would like to find importers in Israel, distributors, or again, exporters to source products or services from Israel, then please get in touch. At the end of the presentation, I will show my email, and you're very welcome to get in touch with us in order to find the right partners for you in Israel. We also have a business data center, so we're able to communicate information about companies that are members and that are not members, about import to Israel, about regulation, so on and so forth. And obviously, just like we are doing today, we also focus on B2B meetings, webinars, seminars. We host delegations, different events, and different opportunities for collaboration. Now, we have a very strong business opportunity system. What you see before you is a variety of business offers from Israeli companies in all sectors, for import, for export, for joint ventures, for technology partnerships. And we can also point you to the right direction when it comes to R&D or investment in companies and in Israel, of course. On the other side of this, we also enable foreign companies to present their business opportunities to our members. And we make connections between foreign companies, obviously with Korean companies as well, but companies from around the world in order to create the right matchmaking and B2B partnerships between our members and foreign companies. So if you would like to present your business opportunity and find partners in Israel, our system enables it. You can go on the FICC website, write your details, and we will be very happy to work with you on this. And I will mention, because of our dear friends and partners from TEKTiTE Korea, we encourage members and associates of TEKTiTE Korea to utilize this system and to bring forward your opportunities, your technologies, and trade opportunities as well. So with that in mind, with the role of the Federation of Israeli Chambers of Commerce in our mind, we will now focus on Industry 4.0. I'm sparing you the deep definitions of the sector because I'm sure our audience members are familiar with the field and are familiar with the digitalization of industry that we are going to, that we are embarking on right now. And we're going to meet some very clever companies and very advanced solutions in the field. So generally speaking, Industry 4.0 is driven by disruptive trends, including the rise of data, connectivity, analytics, human-machine interaction, and improvements in robotics. And this is according to McKinsey. You're very welcome to go on their website. There's very wonderful insights about Industry 4.0. The sector predominantly is comprised with these four pillars, according to McKinsey. Connectivity, data, and computational power, focusing on cloud technology, blockchain, sensors, advanced analytics, and so on. Number two is analytics and intelligence. So we are talking about, again, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and very advanced solutions that have not been in existence in the past few years, and now can be utilized to take the industry, different sectors of industry and manufacturing to the next level. Number three, human-machine interaction is a very interesting element of how engineers, how business providers, service providers can utilize the interaction with machines, focusing on VR, augmented reality, automation, and so on. And again, some of the companies that we'll be presenting here shortly will show you their advances, their solutions, especially on this subject. And last but not least, of course, advanced engineering. So engineering, we are talking about additive manufacturing, 3D printing, and I know one of the companies here with us today focuses on that specifically, renewable energy, and different utilization of new materials, of chemical developments, and different ways to have the next step of engineering into industry across the globe. The main questions, the main topics that we'll be talking about today are the challenges facing industry, how Industry 4.0 and the companies here with us today are facing these challenges, what solutions they are offering to factories, to manufacturers, to the communication between different companies and their partners around the world. If we are talking about finding providers, finding suppliers, finding manufacturers, how to communicate with them in a much more advanced and easy way. We are obviously discussing about a disruptive technology. Industry 4.0 didn't exist a few years ago, as we all know. So it really causes a disruption. What does it mean, disruption? One of the elements of disruption, we are talking about the use of employees, of the human element and human resources, and instead of having a lot of expenses and a lot of efforts focused on the employees and team members, can now utilize very advanced technologies in order to make things faster, more efficiently, and in a more agile way. And last but not least, we will focus on trends in industry. What kind of things our four members here, the four companies that we will be presenting shortly, what trends they identify, what do they see into the future as far as we can do, how their companies will be able to tackle these trends or answer these trends or join these trends in order to develop the industry across the globe. With that in mind, it's my pleasure to introduce our participants today. So first here with us, we'll be hearing from Mr. Song from Gentle Energy from Korea, who offers a holistic information for optimal decisions. We will also have Mr. Ahmed Jetalua. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce the name accurately. I'm sure you will be able to correct it later on. From Pristina Rea in Kosovo, talking about development innovation lead. Then we will hear from the Israeli company Giga 3D. And here with us today is the CEO of the company, Mr. Asaf Gwez, who provides an all-in-one purchasing solution for advanced manufacturing. And last but not least, we will hear from Mr. Arvind from Dona, a British company that provides AI solutions for real-time defects detection during 3D printing. 3D printing is, again, something that we mentioned earlier on, one of the key innovation and disruption in manufacturing that is now available for private users, available for industries, is in existence in construction, and some very fascinating solutions that are coming with 3D solutions. So with that in mind, I'll stop my screen sharing so we can hear from our participants. Mr. Song, thank you very much for being with us today. You can unmute your account. We would love to hear from you about your company, about your technology. We will be following with a Q&A session after each presenter. So each presenter will have roughly 10 minutes to present their technology, their solution, and then we'll have a very brief Q&A session. I will start with a quick question myself, and then we will leave it open for Ms. Faisa and our audience, of course. Mr. Song, you are on mute. We can't hear you.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Nehushtan. Hopefully I said it right. And, okay. I'm Charles Song from Gentle Energy, and today I'll talk about optimal decisions with holistic information and why it matters for Industrial 4.0 revolution. So the holistic information meant by Gentle Energy is that we're collecting every single information in the factory. For that, we have found out that most factories don't have enough sensors or enough detection tools to observe what's going on. So we actually made our own sensors. And we also believe that just the data doesn't really mean anything. You need to transform the data into information. And for that, you can have somebody to sit and make those calculations to transform data into information. But we can also have AI to do that for you automatically. So with these two solutions combined together, we are providing a KPI management solution for smart factory owners. We think this is particularly important to know the KPI and the KPI over the time trend because as everybody understands, it's the high inflation economy that we live in today. So the margin for manufacturing sectors is declining because the labor cost, material, electricity, everything's rising really fast these days. And there's also constant price discount pressure from your competitors and from your customers. And most of the time, what I've learned from more than 300 factories is that it's really difficult to identify what are the real problems for not able to reduce the cost effectively. And that's because there's a lack of recording that's trustworthy. Answer for this is pretty simple, as everybody knows. You need to put sensors, IoT and AI, and with all the right data and right information, you can make a much better optimized decisions. But the question is how to coordinate them together. So we have developed sensors as self-powered. This means you don't need to do any construction or installation work. It's attachable and detachable sensor. It's usually installed less than 5 seconds. You need to also collect those information from sensors, which is usually hindered by the metallic work inside the factory. We have developed a Bluetooth detection technology that can detect up to 300 meters in open field, meaning about within a radius of 70 meters, we can detect all the sensor signals. And as I said, data don't mean a thing much if you don't understand. So we need to transform them into information with an AI. Our AI is pretty interesting. So the one you see on the left side is a raw data that's expressed in a graphical way. If you put that into ChatGPT, because everybody loves it these days, this is what you get. You can identify the active phase but you need a way more intensive training for TEKTiTE to understand everything that's going on. Factoid, the solution developed by Gentle Energy, can actually tell the data on the left side into the one you see on the bottom right. You can tell if it's on or off, idle, or if it's making type A product or type B product, and how many or how much of them are made. On top of that, you can also calculate how much energy is used for each cycle or each type of product that you're producing. So this is a fascinating AI that we have made that's better, at least in the field of industrial data processing. And this was possible because we've been putting two types of sensors in the field. One is that we put the main sensor signatures you see on the bottom side. The gray ones are the signature we get from the main sensors, but you need somebody to tell if it's starting production or off the production. So what we did is instead of having a human for every different types of signals to tell and label them, we have put the marker sensors to label them automatically from the machine. So once you have the main sensors on the main power input or vibration source, and put the marker sensors for indicating, for example, if a new material went in and the brand new material came out, you can just detect it and tell AI that's happening. It can learn automatically and can analyze what's going on with the machine, regardless of the types of machine or the type of the product. So this is a result of our AI. It can identify what's happening in the machine during the production in really detailed way. And you can combine these numbers or this data in different ways to make a really detailed analysis of what's going on the production site. So the service we're providing to our customers is essentially a database. It's a DB, but it's smarter than the simple DB. It's not an array of temperature or vibrations or I don't know, those like current values. It's a DB with all this raw data, plus if it's what's the throughput of the machine, how many cycles has been processed, what is the cycle time, what is the cache to cycle time. We can process all this information in a single DB and provide it to our customer, and that's the value that we're giving to our customers, because this is precisely what the executives need to make decisions on how to reduce the manufacturing costs. So this is what it looks like in real world. The one you see on the left side is we're augmenting the factory. So the old factories into Industrial 4.0 factory happens by augmenting the old machines with our brand new the attachable sensors. So we're using, this is an example of a split core type of a CT that's installed in less than 5 seconds. And once the data is collected, the AI analyzes the pattern of it and determines what's happening. And it also does the cluster analysis over every week, updating what's happening, able to identify the status of the machine with the accuracy to 99.5% of that comes from PLC. So this is not a PLC hacking. This is the sensor that senses the energy usage pattern, still able to make an output that's really close enough to PLC data. Then if our customer requires sometimes the type of a user interface, we also built a platform for them to use. And how we go into our customers, and we target for the customer who has a partial or no MES, and with the data that's partially automated or entirely manually input. With this, we put our sensors as our attachable, so it's really simple and easy, and we give them a smart DB or light MES. But recently, we also added a new business model for providing some sort of a platform technology with the sensors and data analytics to our system integrators. For example, it can be like an ERP, like a SAP, or it can be the MES supplier or SCADA players. And they will take our data analytics information and customize it and give it to customers. And our current partners include LG U+, the second biggest telco company in South Korea. We have two results too. One is the productivity enhancement. Our customer were able to reduce the work hour by 30%. And with the energy efficiency solution, they were able to save more than 10%, actually, to be honest, 25% of the energy consumption of the factory per month. This was possible because with our very detailed, near like a hard real-time solution with our sensors, they were able to identify what's happening at what time frame, with what machine, what type of product, and what line of the product with what people. And they did a very detailed analysis. They identified the loss factors. They gradually improved, and they were able to reduce the work hour, which means they have a 30% higher throughput for their manufacturing, which is reducing their manufacturing costs. Also, with the 3 different factories with our solution, we have identified way more factors to reduce the energy consumption than simply having a single energy bill analysis. And that brought them from 6 to 12% of energy saving, which is more than 300% of ROI. And we believe this KPI monitoring and management is really important for manufacturing sector, because with our solution, you can manage what the labor cost, how the labor cost is changing, how much of the capex you need to reflect onto your material price, and how much of the overhead cost or utility cost need to be on the prices. And you can also reduce them as much as you can because you now have all the information. On the other hand, if it's just a simple predictive maintenance or just a simple monitoring solution, there aren't much impact you can give. So we believe the KPI management is just the right time at the right spot to give it to our market for them to make the maximum impact for reducing their production costs. I've also got all the certificates like ISO 9001 or 14001 and on all the certificates from Korean government as well. We have also quite a few IPs, patents, and we have also filed up to 68 actually IPs now. And we were also reviewed by a lot of the Korean media, like the prestigious one as well. So if you're interested, there are English versions as well that you can look up. So I think we can explain a lot more detail. You can learn about us in a lot more detail through those media coverages. And our grand vision is that to become an industrial data bank. I mean, we put our sensors, we're collecting, we're analyzing all of them. So essentially, we believe that our company, Gentle Energy, is some sort of upstream business for the chemical sector, meaning we are collecting all the raw data from the production site, and we're processing all of them, and we're giving the primary analysis result to our executives. So our solutions can be used for business intelligence sector, or it can be used in the energy efficient sector. Or if I stretch a little further, I believe we can also give some values to industrial finance or insurance sector for telling them exactly how to use this operation data or the temperature data to make the right corrections into their valuation of the company or the rate optimization for the insurances. And of course, this will be done only after the customer agrees to participate in the marketing authority over the data. So in summary,
sorry, continue. We had a couple of questions, but I will let you conclude. Yes, please.
Okay, yeah. So in summary, we have went to 28 companies, installed in 32 factories so far, won some awards, and actually 67 IPs now, and we have enough CE or KC certification to actually sell our product in Korea and overseas. So that's about Gentle Energy, our solution that we run for optimal decisions for our customers with holistic information. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Sung. We do have a question from President Holly. Does KPI management system detect any system failure as well as energy saving? So I'll be honest, we cannot detect all the system failures, but if something wrong happens, we can detect the anomaly and inform our customer that something happened. And for the energy saving, yes, we're really good at that because with one customer, we have experience of the customer producing a same type of product, but depending on who's operating the machine, there's up to 3 times of energy differences. So they fixed it and they start to save a lot after that. So yes, we can do both in certain different levels. Thank you for that. I'm curious about your potential partners. What kind of industries can use your technology, and what kind of technologies are you aiming at, and what are maybe relevant, and you're thinking about the future potential for future partners?
Sure. Our customers happen to be focused on the precision engineering or flight or auto or steel processing, which means we're specialized in metal processing, but we're also able to apply our things to different sectors as well. We have references for a lot of sectors now. So if you're interested, please don't hesitate to contact us. For a potential partnership, we're extremely excited to directly make a sales point to our customers who has a factory, or if you're on ERP or MES solution providers, we'll be particularly interested to provide the data collected and processed by our AI to your DB. So if you fall into any of those categories, owning factory or providing the business intelligence software, we are happy to work with you.
Thank you for that. Geisa, do we have any other questions? Because I do have a few.
Yeah, I have one question, and it's about, because actually I'm really friendly about sustainability and environment, and what work would pay attention to your presentation, it's like that you mentioned that reduce electricity cost, which means that they can now, your smart factory can also contribute with the ecosystem, right?
Yes, yes. So from my back of the envelope calculation, in Korea, if I can work with 5% of the metal processing industry and save them 5% of the energy, that'll be equivalent to installing 530 1 megawatt scale solar farm in Korea. So this is a really lot of savings. The question is, can Gentleman solution can directly save the energy? The answer is actually no. We can tell where your energies are wasted, why you're wasting it, but we don't actually control the machine directly. So we give them information, we tell them, hey, this is the waste and this is where you can improve, so that our customers, our engineers can work on the site to reduce the energy. We do this indirect way of telling them the insights because a lot of factories and a lot of customers have a different safety requirements or different types of machine wirings that we cannot control all of them. So for the scalability of implementing our solution, we give you the insight how and what to do, but we don't control them directly. Hope this answers the question.
Sure. My question is because I was really interested about your presentation, because yesterday in sustainability workshop we have one company from India that actually they have a lot of projects with sustainability and energy, like renewable energy, and I think we can connect them to you because I think you can do some really interesting business together, because they are really interested in this energy, and then energy, and also like some projects that they can reduce costs of energy and in industry and manufacturing. So if you are interested, we can connect them to you.
Yes, I'm interested all kinds of collaboration and partnership. So yes, please do so. I'm very thankful.
Thank you. It's all.
I have another question, just so we conclude with the market potential. Which markets are you aiming at the moment? Which countries or areas in the world?
Yeah, currently we are focused in South Korea, and our first expansion plan is to go to Europe, especially focused on Austria. We currently have 2 POC sites in Austria because their electricity price is super high right now. That's about 5 times more expensive than compared to Korea. So that's why we're interested. Germany and Italy and Poland also facing their borderline with Austria. So we think it's a perfect place to start our business with. So that's why we went to Austria, and that's what we're doing and trying to expand as much as we can. So that's our current interest. But we're also interested in expanding rest of Europe as well as Southeast Asia region, because there are a lot of factories from Korea and Europe that we believe we can make a good impact with our references in the current focus regions.
Thank you. That's very helpful. I would like to mention before we move on to our next presenter that this is a very interesting example of how geopolitical events can create opportunities and can create different markets for some of the companies, especially I think in the field of Industry 4.0. And Mr. Song just gave us a great example of that. Another wonderful example that we have exactly in the same sort of line is what Giga 3D are offering. And before I give the mic to our member, Mr. Asaf Gwez, I think that identifying market failures in the business world and identifying what is lacking, what is missing, is the key element for Industry 4.0, because some of the ideas that we are exposed to in the world of Industry 4.0, you think, amazing, how come no one thought about it earlier? I can't believe this solution wasn't available before. And to exemplify what I was just saying, it's a great intro for our esteemed member, Asaf Goez and Giga 3D, will tell us about their solution and about their technologies. And please, Asaf, tell us how you came up with the solution as well.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Or. Can you hear me well? Cool. So I was the CEO of two manufacturing companies, and I saw the problem that I will present from the supplier perspective. That all the communication between buyer and supplier is broken. And then once I got like really big projects and find subcontractors for me as a supplier, then I saw the problem also from the buyer perspective. So this is what I'm gonna present now about the solution that Giga built. You know, so many companies when we are talking about like Industry 4.0. You think about like machines and how to improve the machines and how to improve the technology, but we focus, like or mentioned, on improving the communication between buyer and supplier. And I would love to share my presentation and then a short video, and then answer to any question that you may have. So can you see my screen? Just and yeah. Okay. So purchasing a parts, if you have like a BOM, a bill of material, is time consuming and manual, especially in high mix, low volume industries. And we found that companies today manage this process from source to pay. Also, if they have ERP, most of the data goes like this. Tons of emails, a lot of phone calls with the supplier and the buyer, using spreadsheets to, you know, tracking data or find the best supplier that they are looking for. And this kind of method leads to a lot of problems for both sides. Problem like limited visibility. Let's say you have like the engineers, the procurement, the operation, the supply chain, the project manager. It's very difficult to understand what's happened in the project. Team waste a lot of time on manual tasks, you know, to fill in like the data from the supplier or things like that. And all of this situation leads to missed deadlines. Imagine that every single task that you need to do, you wait for the email from the supplier, and all this ping pong sometimes takes few days. And this is sometimes like you can produce a part in 4 days, but all the communication around this part can take like 2 weeks. So this is what we are doing. This is how we help our customers to solve this problem. So first of all is centralization. We centralize all the information to one place about each one of the parts, the status from the suppliers, and also enable the customers to follow up automatically to the suppliers if they want to track like the statuses. They don't need to do it manually. So you get a really nice dashboard with all the components that you buy or purchase, and you can see in one place what's going on with them, and also customize the tracking statuses with with your suppliers. Standardization. So, for example, during the sourcing process, it's very difficult to take all the quotation from the suppliers and to compare between them. So we build a software, a tool, a feature that take all these quotes and put them in one place. So you can see, like, for each one of the components, who is the best supplier. You can see all the notes in one place. You can compare between them easily and decide who is like the best supplier to go with. And automation in this process from source to pay. Imagine like you have a BOM with 1,000 components that goes to 50 different suppliers. There's so many manual tasks that you need to do. So we automate a lot of like small tasks, but if you take like all these tasks together, is like huge work. Sometimes more than one person that need to do this job, and then take all this data and have like a tracking, so you can understand from the data, like let's say, for example, in real time, which parts goes to like delay, how you can manage your budget in a better way, and things like that. On top of this tool, we build like a feature for supplier discovery. So imagine that you manage everything with your existing suppliers from our tool, but then, I don't know, one of the supplier don't have the capacity. So in one click, you can find like similar suppliers to your supplier, and source and purchase from them in 2 clicks. Of course, we integrate.
Sorry to interrupt. We are still seeing the first slide. I'm not sure if you were moving the slides forward, but we are still on the first slide. Maybe you want to change to present. Don't worry, we've been following you you've been very clear by now, so don't worry about it.
One moment.
Sure thing.
I think, you know what? Okay. Now maybe it's like the way that I present. Now you see the first slide?
Yes.
Okay. And now you see like the integration.
No, we're still on the first slide. If you can click the presenting feature on PowerPoint, now we can see Giga can help, which is what we're here for.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do it like this, and then
all right. Sure thing. Go on.
Then it will be better. So this is like how it's like the centralization feature looks like. After that, I mentioned like the standardization, the automation, the data tracking, the supplier discovery, and now like the integration. So we can integrate with the PLM, we can integrate with the ERP and things like that. So then you can see everything in one place and don't need to do like double work for your job. This is some numbers from our existing customers. So in average, they cut 34% in lead time. They save 18 hours per employee per month, and cut like 28% on the hard cost. Before I will show you like the video, so really good examples from our customers. One is like ICL is like a huge group of chemicals all over the world. So they cut like the cycle from PO from RFQ to PO in 80%. It's like incredible. And 45% in cost saving. And this is like some numbers from KLA that cut like in 30% the lead time, and in 50% the PO cycle. And before we will move forward to questions, so I just want to share with you 1-minute video about the solution. Just let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
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 All right. Hope you can hear it also good. Can you hear the video?
Unfortunately not.
One moment.
I think, Asaf, perhaps we can continue with the questions. It might help us understand your advantages even better than the video, so we can make the best use of the time.
Yeah, thanks.
All you have to do is
Now we can hear. All right.
onboard that, send pull requests, juggle endless email chains, compare quotes. Oops, there's a revision. Positions, follow up to ensure on-time delivery. Now repeat for each and every.
Thank you, Asaf.
Thanks. And sorry for the technical issues.
That's all right. I think it would be much more interesting even hearing from you actually directly. So thank you for the presentation first and foremost. I will say on a not personal but a professional note that, you know, because the Federation of Israeli Chambers of Commerce, we work a lot with trade, we work a lot with exporters and importers, and the challenge that you presented in your opening speech is a well-known challenge. And actually, it's like I said before, some of the things we are surprised that the technological solution didn't come up beforehand. Now, we try to do what we can with the Business Opportunity Platform, as well as our associates with TEKTiTE Korea, I'm sure, in connecting purchase managers to export managers around the world. What kind of trend, if you can tell us, can you identify in this specific area? I'm not talking about Industry 4.0 in general, I'm talking specifically in your field of expertise.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think one of the major trend is like after the COVID, or from the COVID, since the COVID, companies looking about their supply chain and tried to change a little bit the way that they purchase parts, to combine between local and abroad like suppliers. So sometimes you don't want to have like just, I don't know, one Chinese supplier for this component, because let's say we will find us in a situation like the COVID again. So then you need to find an alternative, and this is like, I think, the huge trend that we are seeing from our perspective.
I see, and I think that the solution is really aimed at traditional industries like Mr. Song presented earlier. So the solution here is actually facing very traditional industries. Do you see the industry developing further and then still utilizing your technology?
You mean like specific sector, or you mean like?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that for robotics companies, it's more like they are like early adopters, and also mid-size aerospace companies. So not like the big one, like 400 people in aerospace companies, and also robotics companies. They are like the early adopters for our solution.
That's very interesting, because those are very specific and niche industries. And we have a question from President Ho Lee. How do you verify the quality of parts purchased via your platform?
Yeah, so today, first of all, we have like the way to track like the workflow. So we don't have like an AI to do it, but what we have, that's like the flow asks the supplier to send pictures, to send document, from the other side to sign on like quality and things like that. And one of like the nice, I think, very cool and simple feature, or it's not feature, it's a service that we added. It's like you can also, on top of the order, can order inspection in the factory. So you can add, like, let's say the $300 for this project, and then in the platform, you can share like the inspection that you want, and then like a third-party company goes to the factory and doing like the inspection. So you also save this time around the quality process, and our customers our customers love this feature because it also saves them time, like around all the administrative tasks that they need to do for quality checking.
Thank you, Asaf. And I think before we move on to our next speaker, I would like to say that a lot of the solutions in Industry 4.0 are aimed and are very helpful in cutting back manpower and employees and human hours. And that's very important, that this is progress that has been done for the past 200 years since the Industrial Revolution. That's the way things go. With more and more technologies, we see less use of labor. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Asaf, that actually with your solution, it doesn't have to mean termination of employees. It doesn't cut back on the human resource. It enables the existing human resource to have better use of their time, energy, and resources.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, correct. Thanks for that.
Well, sure thing. Well, again, we try to find the best and most interesting features of each of our presenters. And thank you very much for your time and presentation. We will now move on to our next speaker, Mr. Arvin C. from Dona. We would love to hear from you if you are able to share your screen and show us your presentation, and then we'll move on to the next.
Yep.
Sorry, Mr. Arvin, I'm sorry, just one moment. Raisa has another question for Asaf from Giga, just before we move on.
All right, sorry.
Sorry,
So,
Raisa. Yeah.
I have a question, because you say that you find the suppliers, and then you easily show all the options to the customers that actually are using your how can I say, your system, right? Mm-hmm. So it looks like it is like a marketplace for companies to find parts like in an easily way. It's just to simplify, just try to understand. So easily the companies can find the tools where they are looking for in one platform without looking for like others suppliers, like in the old way, like looking for companies on, I don't know, Google or something. You find this for them, right?
Yeah, but it's just a feature to source the new suppliers. Most of our customers use this tool with their existing suppliers.
Mhm.
So you can say that it's like a marketplace, but it's more like a custom marketplace. It's like
Mhm.
it's like a marketplace in the UX and the UI. But actually what it is, it's like a tool to manage this process with your existing suppliers in an easy way. And on top of that, to find new suppliers if you want to.
I see. So it's like also the suppliers can use your system to sell, to show them the parts of the like for parts of factories that they are selling for, and also customers they are looking for can also use. So you offer this system for both of them, right?
Yes.
Which is
Yes.
amazing. Okay, that was my
Thanks.
question, because I'm really a fan of marketplaces for my previous work. So I was like, oh, that's amazing that you can both help both of them, like the supplier and the customer, in one on system. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and while we move on, I think we are really seeing some very interesting things here, from gentle energy and the use of AI and KPIs, and again, the use of AI algorithm with Giga. And now we are very curious again, Arvin, sorry for interrupting you earlier, to see the solutions by Donna. Please go ahead.
Yep, and just as a side note, I would like to keep my phone for the timer's sake, right? Because the topic is too exciting and I might possibly spend over time. So let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, so I guess the panel can see my screen. I'll switch on to the beginning. Okay, so I guess the panel can see my
Yes, great.
presentation. Thank you. So I would like to thank the panel host and the panel moderator for having me here. And it is quite interesting for me to present last, because like all the pointers that I am going to be sharing is kind of like picked off from each of the presentations, like the panel moderator's presentation on 3D printing and Mr. Song's presentation on sensors. So it is quite fascinating to present at the last. So I am representing Donna for my boss, Dr. Anas Chowdhury, and this is what Donna is about. And in order to elaborate, I would proceed officially or formally. So Donna is kind of a software solution provider. And what it provides is, it provides means to detect defects and tell the 3D printer, so there is a defect that is going to occur. So you have to change your parameters, right? So that is sort of the objective of Donna. And to give a little insight as to why defect detection in 3D printing is quite a common phenomena, it can be understood, or in a sense, that metal 3D printing can lead to extreme wastage of time and materials. Part of the reason being, it is one of the less commercialized processes in for the past few years. And the another thing is, defects, when detected, can be very costly, as I will be showing in the upcoming slide. So the main motive is defect detection has its own consequences for us to provide solutions to prevent defects. So when I talk about solution, the way how Donna does it is using the help of cameras. So as the panel can see, so this is a picture of a camera. This is a picture of the 3D printing bed, and the camera has taken the picture during the process. And what the camera does is, the camera sends the pictures back to the Donna's solution board, and Donna checks with the existing set of pictures that it has got. Okay, will this process lead to a formation of defect? And if Dona confirms that this process or this step won't lead to defect, it would tell the printer, okay, you can continue on with the printing. And if Dona notices that there is a subsequent anomaly that is being detected on the print bed as it is being printed, Dona would tell the printer, oh no, there is something wrong, you got to stop, right? So that is what is essentially is divided into these three parts. Machine learning is sort of basically Dona telling the printer to stop or not to stop, and ground truth is Dona comparing with the existing correct set of paths or correct set of procedures, so that I can compare and say, oh, this is good and this is bad, right? So that is how Dona detect defects. So in order to summarize, it provides a real-time monitoring solution. And the market that we are currently targeting is the space and the aerospace. And this is just a brief overview of the 3D printing market, and which I believe is trivially known to the panel presenters. And space and aerospace within the 3D printing market is actually a viable option. And coming to the problem that that is being addressed by Dona in terms of numbers or in terms of market values, Dona is possibly saving like pretty much 1% of the entire market space, which is a very good contribution, if you ask me. So that is the numbers that is being put forward as a motivator for Dona to proceed in terms of how the market is being addressed by detecting defects and then saving the subsequent waste. And this is sort of the market discovery journey that Dona had. So coming to the key partners, this is since Dona is initially on the startup phase, so we are partnering with universities, small bureau printers, small service bureaus, 3D printing manufacturers, and we go to them and say, let us install the software solution and say how good we are in detecting, right? So when I say let us install software solutions, this mainly include providing the cameras, and of course, we need a 3D printer, right? And we are not a 3D printer provider, but rather a camera provider or a sensor provider. And the key activities that Dona does is detect defects, right? But when I say detect defects, if I have to put some numbers into it, so I say detect defects 90 to 100% of the time. And by detecting defects, one huge step in metal 3D printing is the post-processing. And the post-processing costs are reduced significantly by 30 to 40%. And this pointer in the green is perhaps like one of the most important pointers, which says that it reduces environmental scrap, which cannot be recycled. And pretty much to summarize, we can also say that Dona's software tools helps to detect the defects and thereby like increasing the efficiency of the machines significantly, right? So, and I believe at this moment, Dona is sort of a B2B relationships, and the channels involve direct sales and distribution agreements, like, for example, giving 3D printers companies like a subscription-based solutions, so that they can have their 3D printers monitored via the cameras, and then the information is sort of sent to the cloud, and Dona gets the information from the cloud, and we do our magic, right? And the customer segments is the one that I discussed on earlier. And so these are the next step ahead. So in order to briefly summarize the next step ahead, this is mainly focusing on improvising our pilot schemes, right? So focusing on getting the first proof of concept or the second proof of concept extremely correctly done. And then the subsequent steps are in fact highlighted briefly in the upcoming slide, which I believe is an even easier way to understand. So to summarize, these are the short little success stories that we had from a few of the fractions that are like that reside near Dona, and this is the collaboration that Dona would actually love to participate in. And this collaboration can result as a stem from the journey that DONA is yet to explore, or the future steps, right? So this mainly involves pilots, and one important pointer is manufacturing partners seeking to decarbonize their production line. Say, for example, if DONA can prevent post-processing, and if DONA can prevent a significant reduction time in reducing something in the manufacturing sector, this can be said as reducing the carbon footprints of the corresponding manufacturing process if DONA wasn't there. So that is what meant by decarbonizing. And then subsequently, DONA would also would like to have partners in the physical or the science aspect of that. And the third one is the market side of the organization, where DONA would love to have distribution partners, right? So that is a short summary of DONA, and I would be happy to take questions and comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arvind, and perfect timing, by the way. So kudos on the great presentation and the time frame as well. We do have some more time, and there's a very interesting question from President Ho Lee. Why can't 3D print manufacturer reduce scraps in non-recyclable scraps?
Pardon?
If you can tell us how 3D printing and 3D technology can reduce non-recyclable scrap.
All right. The first part is the part that is I believe is the existing part, right? So which is tricky to achieve. So since 3D printing is sort of an emerging area, so you need to have, apologies. So that is the timer that I set. So yeah, so to answer that, it is actually quite difficult to reduce the scrap. So what normally the technicians would do is sort of play around with the machine parameters in order to reduce the scrap. And secondly, what I believe that the lab technicians or the 3D printing service providers would do is they would sort of try and somehow recycle the scrap by putting it under a subsequent process where the scrap can be made into sort of a reusable raw material again. So so those are the sort of two solutions that I know to reduce non-recyclable scrap, right? So to summarize, it is, I believe, currently the lab technicians just play around with the machine parameters, and secondly, they might find a way to recycle the reduced, the non-reusable, non-recyclable scrap as a raw material, but then subsequently just for one more print, I guess.
Thank you. I had a question for you as well. You mentioned earlier that one of the industries you're focusing on is the aerospace industry. Now, 3D printing is, since it was launched, it is, I think, in use in practically every industry in manufacturing. I would like to hear from you, as someone who specializes in the industry, what kind of trends do you see? Did the use of 3D printing in construction, is it actually going as well as planned? Are there any interesting insights in the 3D printing industries that can use it better, industries that it's not relevant to, that you can share with us?
Yeah, that is sort of an interesting question. Thank you. So when it comes to aerospace, I believe that one focus that DONA has is reducing the cost of high value 3D printing. When I say high value, it resorts to aerospace, where the cost of printing parts in aerospace is significantly higher than, say, a biomedical or agricultural sectors, where say the parts printed by aerospace has sort of an explicit or a huge application where the consequence of failure is sort of extremely high. So with that being said, I would also like to stress slightly on the factor that when it comes to aerospace, I would say that 3D printing is sort of incremental, more incremental than disruptive per se. So I would kind of say that for donut, aerospace sectors can be early adopters. And with that being said, that 3D printing can be incremental in the aerospace sector. I believe for the other sectors like construction, biomedical, 3D printing is completely disruptive, right? So I believe 3D printing of prosthetics or implants totally disrupts what the conventional machines do. So I believe that DONA currently focuses on 3D printing for aerospace, but I believe in future DONA has plans to focus on the other sectors. You mentioned construction. I believe construction is quite analogous to aerospace in sort of the industrial and non-DIY sectors, right? And when I refer to DIY sectors, you have the biomedical sectors and subsequent sectors. But then it also depends on how quickly metal 3D printers are commercialized, right? So say, for example, in my limited experience, a metal 3D printer is basically consumes a huge room as compared to these small plastic-based 3D printers, right? So yeah, that is my take on that.
Thank you. And Ms. Reisa has a question for you as well. Please, Ms. Reisa.
Thank you. I would like to know what kind of business opportunity or partnership DONA is looking for at this moment, because you told us that there are spaces like in something that DONA use working, but also we have as Neustan also told you, it's like in smart industry, we have a lot of manufacturing and smart factory also that we can also use the 3D printing system. So what kind of opportunities right now you are looking for also with TEKTiTE that we can be clear?
Right. So in order to I mean to make things easier, I'll just share my screen again. So yeah, from current slide. Oops. So yeah, so this I believe this key point, the distribution point is what I would like to emphasize. So we are currently looking for partners to distribute our software and leverage our technology, which also means that we are willing to work with any companies that use metal additive manufacturing, right? So predominantly, we said aerospace because aerospace uses metal additive manufacturing than the other sectors, in my opinion. So we are open for companies that use metal additive manufacturing machines. And we are also happy to involve companies that are outside aerospace and also use metal additive manufacturing, right? So yeah. And apologies for adding so late on. So we would also be interested in any non-3D printing companies per se, so small scale companies, which sort of are in need of a defect detection software solution provider that can also benefit them per se, right? So yeah.
Thank you for that. If you could please stop the screen sharing. I do have another question for you. I'm very curious about the private use of 3D printing. You know, when social networks first started, there was a very big concern from the press on the fact that now anyone can speak very openly and very publicly about their thoughts, and everybody becomes a self-appointed journalist. And now, with the private use of 3D printers, the smaller plastic ones that you mentioned, do you think there is any concern for bigger companies that are utilizing 3D printing in an industrial capacity, or are these two things that can coexist?
I believe that those things can coexist, and this is actually stemming from my experiences on sharing stories from both the people who has created DIY 3D printers and the people who has initially created these large, huge machines. And then it also depends
sorry,
on.
Arvin, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We can't see you. I think you turned off the video camera instead of the screen sharing.
Oh, yeah. Okay, stop share. Oh, yeah. Apologies for that. So I believe that they can coexist, but then as you clearly said, I also believe that companies right now are clever enough to adapt to the needs of the customers, so that they can be cleverly disruptive as well as keep the customers happy, right? So I have seen companies, say, for example, Renisha or like companies who manufacture huge 3D printing machines, and they are also making efforts to connect with people so that how the common people can also benefit from these huge 3D printing machines, as well as come up with solutions to provide a small DIY machines, right? So, and secondly, to add on, I believe that this part can subsequently be answered in the upcoming years. So say for example, it also depends on the application per se. Some applications might need small scale printers, and some applications might not need small scale printers. So I would be very happy to see how this rolls on in the upcoming years.
Thank you very much, Arvin. I think I mentioned this before. I haven't come across a lot of companies that have taken advantage, so to speak, of this new technology. You know, I see a lot of companies that are investing in 3D printers, developing 3D printers for different industries. And I find it fascinating that Dona has found a way to offer a solution for the whole industry in a very wide and general way for this. Again, we use the word disruptive so much that it loses its weight. But I think it's very important to use it in the right way. And the 3D printing technology is indeed very disruptive. So I think the solution that Dona is bringing forward is fascinating, very similar to what we saw before from Gentle Energy and from Giga as well. Thank you very much, Arvin. Before we conclude, I do have a question for the whole panel, and I will ask them, and then we will go to Mr. Song, then Mr. Goez, and then Arvin for you to answer one by one. We are very curious because each of you are touching a different sector in Industry 4.0. I'm very curious about which trends and developments you would recommend for us, the audience, or perhaps customers, or perhaps even investors, to keep an eye out. Mr. Song, I'd love to start with you. If you're with us, Charles? Maybe we'll get back to Charles later on. Asaf, again, I'm focusing the question. In your specific subsector of purchasing and supply chain, what kind of new technologies, solutions, or trends are you noticing that you would recommend for us to keep an eye out? Again, as you mentioned very cleverly before, with everything that we experienced through COVID, I imagine that there are a lot of interesting things happening in the field.
Pardon me for the
for
interruption. I guess Mr. Song is trying to speak, but then I guess he's muted, I guess.
I'm not sure. I think he might be have. Raisa, if you could very kindly contact Mr. Song and tell him that we have a question for him in a few moments. But thank you, Arvin. Please, Asaf.
Yeah, in the meantime, so in my perspective, definitely, or in our, like, let's say, kind of product, definitely OpenAI, ChatGPT, things like that. We are actually also now using some, tools and features from that, because when it comes to communication and to like take the important things from data, so the OpenAI and ChatGPT doing like a really good job, and this is something that I think people can take a look and also learn from it what they can do and improve for their like day-to-day process.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Mr. Song, are you with us? You are muted.
Oh, yes, I am here. I am here. Yes.
Lovely. So thank you, Raisa, and thank you, Mr. Song. I'll repeat the question. For our benefit, are there any trends that you notice that maybe we should keep an eye out in this specific subsector of Industry 4.0 that's relevant for gentle energy in terms of the use of AI that Asaf mentioned earlier, KPIs, better usage of energy? What kind of things should we keep an eye out for the near future?
Well, that is a really good question, and I definitely see the trend that's evolving in this sector. Especially when we first started, we had a real hard time meeting the customers, but now we have too many calls. It's hard to respond to them right now. I think the key difference is that I think the industry as a whole is learning that the software-only solution, for example, ERP or MS only, doesn't suit the needs that happens in the factory. They realize that even though there's really advanced software, ERP, and the AI solutions for after data collection, people are starting to realize that there are lack of solution for data collection and primary analysis that goes into DB, which is heavily relying on manual input. So in terms of that, I think people are, the portion of people realizing that automated data collection and processing the primary data to a secondary data is being noticed by a lot of people right now. And that's the movement, that's a lot of increase that we are getting. And I think that's the trend that's evolving. So instead of looking at the tip of the iceberg and the easy solutions, I think people are finally getting into realization that the entire holistic transformation of a factory is key to a real Industry 4.0 revolution. So in terms of that, I think that's the trend, and that is going to speed up even further. For that, I think including us and all the other solutions that's introduced today, I think that's happening, especially with the introduction of ChatGPT, which has a great potential for interpreting the data collected by all the solutions introduced today. I think we are definitely facing the new era of the next manufacturing phase for human history. So in terms of that, yes, there's a movement for the entire digitalization of the factory. And yes, I think everybody who present today is on the edge of the movement. So I'm also really glad to meet everybody. I'm also honored to do the presentation. And thank you for asking the question to me. I've been thinking of this topic all the time.
Wonderful. It's my pleasure. And it's very interesting to hear that both of the first two people to answer the question mentioned ChatGPT. Raisa, I wonder if we do the event next year, what kind of solution and technology or app will be mentioned and focused on. Mr. Arvin, please, the same question for you. What kind of trends or interesting things to keep an eye on 3D printing that you recommend for us to know about and learn about?
It is such an interesting question. From I would say Donna's perspective, or from my perspective of a software solution provider, I believe that in future there would be software solution providers to aid lab technicians to facilitate creation of new, novel, customizable parts per se, right? So I also subsequently believe that software solution providers would significantly reduce the computational time in any industries or in any research fields, which involves learning the process beforehand using computational tools. Currently, I believe the industrial scale computational tools would take, say, a week to simulate a industrial scale simulation, but I believe using the help of machine learning and subsequent smart computational tools, the industry scale computational simulations, the time of the industrial scale computational simulations can be drastically reduced, and this can be integrated as a sort of a GUI to the lab technicians, and then this would act as a tool for the lab technicians, so that instead of a classic materials scientist or a materials engineer to say his or her opinion about the material, the lab technicians can themselves use the softwares and form clear opinions to satisfy the customer's needs. So that is my take on this. Thank you.
That's very interesting. And I have to say that it is wonderful to have a co-founder and COO like Asaf, an engineer like Arvind, an engineer like Mr. Song, to have really different takes on the issue. Before we move on for the closing words by Reisa, the president of TEKTiTE Korea, tell us a little bit about the organization, what they can offer. I wanted to elaborate just in a couple of minutes on the way to utilize our services through the FICC, for those of you who are interested in creating more collaborations with Israeli partners. So I'm sharing right now the screenshot of our business opportunity platform on the Federation English webpage that you can see before you. This link you can see and copy right now. The first thing that you see are business opportunities. And over here you can see existing business opportunities from Israeli companies. Yeah, and they get updated every single week with more and more opportunities, more and more offers. But for foreign companies who want to place an offer, you have at the bottom right here, post your own offer. A small window will open for you to leave your details, goes directly to our administrators, and they are able to upload your offer into the system that I showed you before. Go back to it right now, so that Israeli companies can be exposed to your offers in this way. We publish the offers without mentioning the contact details or the name of the company, so that we can reduce the amount of spam and really send our members and send you the most suitable and relevant options. Finally, I would like to present, again, my email is right here. You're welcome to copy it and send me your offers, your ideas of partnering with Israeli companies, or your queries. Ms. Sharon Mermelstein, the head of our international division, couldn't join us today, but it's very important that you know who runs the international division for the FICC. I work with Korea and the Asia Pacific region. So India, China, Korea, of course, all the way to Australia, but the FICC's international division can offer assistance globally. So we help our members contact partners all over the world, in West Europe, in the United States, Canada, Africa, Latin America, across the Middle East, and of course, the Asia Pacific. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you to all of our participants who are here with us today. It was fascinating to hear so many ingenuity, so much innovation, specifically on Industry 4.0. I find it to be one of the most fascinating fields that we have in tech, in high tech nowadays. I know that companies around the world are creating more and more solutions. Israel is one of them, but again, we heard from Korea. We were hoping to hear from Kosovo. We heard from the United Kingdom. And this collaborative work that can help industries all over the world do things better and more efficiently is, I think, one of the most important, not just the most interesting fields. So thank you very much, President Ho Lee. Thank you very much, Reisa. I leave the stage to you to give the closing speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nurishtan, and thank you so much for all the great presentations today. It was really good to, as Nehushtan said, to check all the trends in this sector. It was really interesting, and it's really satisfying that we can see our future from those companies that create amazing tools for easily help companies and easily help for costs for any others situations that we could meet. So I also would like to share my contact because wait a second. This is my contact. So I would like to share that any participation here that wants to meet, or also from who is watching from the TEKTiTE platform or YouTube, they wants to contact any of their companies or one of our presenters, they can send me an email or contact me by the phone that I can really connect them to the presenters from today. And thank you again for all the participants here and also who is watching from the TEKTiTE platform and YouTube. And have a great day, everyone, or great night. It depends on your country. And tomorrow you have on TEKTiTE the last workshop, intermediary workshop. Really interesting companies that we have tomorrow. Also about TEKTiTE, about Delta Tech Korea that is held in the TEKTiTE, that I would like to invite you guys to watch, because we are gonna show business opportunities also here from Korea that we offer. So we would like to ask you to join us tomorrow, okay? Thank you